Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue Season 4 and reach the halfway point with Season 4, Episode 5, titled First of His Name, written by D&D, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, directed by Michelle McLaren. What an episode it was. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. Yeah, another GOT episode behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And, reading through this and getting to the written by D&D, I think I kind of feel that. I can kind of tell.
Yeah. Midway through the season, so I don't know if that is meaningful or not, if they're just setting up for the latter half of the season or something like that. But I do agree. It was a little, it was a nice episode. It was, just not as much, as previous episodes have been, though.
Nah, it's a pretty simple one. I can't imagine this episode will be too terribly long in its discussion. It's very, very straightforward. To the point where I had trouble picking favorites, period.
I know. I'm still I have character blank, and I was just like,
that's my thing, is that I just went to my default. If I don't have a favorite character for the episode, I'm gonna go with Oberyn Martell. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
he was in here, so that
he was, and I mean, it's interesting. We'll talk about it, just because I'm like, the only one that I'm certain of is performance. I'm like, performance.
I felt like it's pretty
very easy. I feel like. But we'll go ahead and get into it. We'll start in Marine. We'll head to King's Landing, the Riverlands, the Vale of the Arryn, and then beyond the Wall. So just a few locations this week, but a bunch of goodies. So in Marine, in her new headquarters atop the Great Pyramid, Daenerys learns of Joffrey's death and Tommen's coronation. She is, a bit irritated to learn that Daario Naharis has captured Marine's navy without her saying he should do so. Just kind of being like, you know what? My queen needs ships. These people got ships. I'm going to go ahead and take these ships. Kind of respect Daario for that. Might make him a contender for the favorite character as well. Just one scene where he did one little thing. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? This was pretty solid for him.
Daenerys being all like, well, who told you to do that now? I'm the queen. I didn't think, and he was just like, well, I mean, I figured you'd want them, they're pretty nice to have. And she was like,
when she looks away and she's holding back a smile and she's like, she's like, I got some, this man kind of fine.
He's like, damn, I didn't tell him to do that, but that's really nice. And he's just so hot and oh, man.
Hot, he took a naval fleet on a whim.
Yeah.
It's pretty outstanding.
In the books, they just destroyed all the ships. I was reading just through a little trivia and stuff, and that's a little difference they had in this episode.
Interesting.
And, so
I guess I want to kind of give Daenerys a crossroads. I
think it was also to give her a decision to go to Westeros or not. Because I think that was the most. It was really interesting. I forgot that kind of this was a thing that she could have actually gone to King's Landing. She would have won now, already. 3 dragons, 8,000 unsullied, whatever, and she probably would have won, but she has to.
If she can't rule Slaver's Bay, she can't rule the 7 kingdoms, and that's I follow her logic there. She's greeted by a similar situation in Slaver's Bay as she will in the 7 kingdoms. A bunch of people who don't know her, who hold no loyalty to her, who, like even in Westeros, I'd say she's in a worse position than she is in Slaver's Bay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people know her father.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like that guy. You know,
Not
like,
at
that's,
all. Yeah.
she's in a rough spot, you know? So, like, I support this decision, and I think it is interesting hearing that about the books, that this does kind of provide her a crossroads, and I think that's actually, I haven't gotten to the point in the books where that's the case, but I can give D&D some credit here. I think that's a smart move to kind of give her a crossroads and present her with an obvious sort of conflict this early on, a potentiality where she could have. But that's the other thing too, is that, like, it does paint her in a more humanitarian light. It's like she wants to help people, and this is where she can help people right now. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love her council here. Like,
great.
her small council just absolutely fucks.
Jorah, Barristan, Dario, Missandei, and Grey Worm.
And, like, you can just tell that, like, Daenerys is still the true leader here, and there's no question about that. But, like, it's open conversation that they're having. Like, no one's, like, stepping on each other's toes or trying to backstab or make a plan or formulate anything. It's just like, yeah, no, we believe in this cause. We're here to help you, and we're going to give you the best advice we can. Yeah, I love this council that she has. And yeah, I don't know. I think they wrote Daenerys' story pretty well. Like, I mean, I
think so too.
It's the most feel good too. Like the kind of easiest one. It's like, oh, well, slavery was a thing. She made it not a thing. Now it's happening again. We stop it. Like, I think it's but
easy to get behind.
Yeah, plays well here though.
Yeah, no, I like all the different perspectives too. Barristan's like, I think we could do that shit easy. I think we could take Westeros. I think that people would flock to us because they hate the Lannisters. And they're tired, they're defeated, they're desperate. I think we could really do some damage. And Jorah's like, yeah, I think it should be enough, but what about the rest of the continent? Is everyone going to accept you? What are we going to do here? And they reveal more troubling news that the wise masters have bounced back and re-enslaved every freedman in Yunkai. And although Astapor remains free, the council Daenerys installed has been deposed by a butcher named Cleon, who has declared himself his imperial majesty. And Daenerys dismisses everyone but Jorah and muses that her plans are in shambles. He reminds her that she is the last Targaryen and the mother of dragons, but Dany says she needs to be more than that. And she laments that if she cannot keep order in 3 cities, she has no hope of controlling the 7 kingdoms. Therefore, she will remain in Meereen and do what queens do.
She will rule. And that was there was not many lines this episode. Usually there's like a definite, like, oh, that one was nice. And then, I mean, this one was kind of the closest to it. I really liked it, and I think it was more just so I can give a nod to this scene, because it wasn't going to be my scene overall for the episode, but I really just it was getting through her thought process, her saying that she needs to be more than the mother of dragons. That's not enough. She will not sail for Westeros. Yeah, no, it was just a nice delivery, and then she just walks off and then just stares out, on top of the pyramid, just all queen-like, I feel like more should have been said there to Jorah, like, oh, well, what will you do? Like, what will we do here? I will rule is very vague. Like, I think it's for, just for the show and everything. It made it look really nice and was cool, but like where are you, what's going? I don't know. I feel like that details.
Jorah just kind of goes, okay,
yeah, like, all right, well, we're staying here, and that's what he advised her to do. But, like, I think it was just really nice, and having Jorah be the one to stay back. I loved, like, his like, while everyone else was walking out, he was like, yeah, she asked for me this time, guys. Yeah, I'm the one staying behind. I love all of that every time, because it's always been Dario every time before this, and Jorah was like, all right, whatever, I'll leave. And,
yeah, right.
And they were all leaving. She's like, not you, Jorah. And he was like,
turns around, he's like,
Yeah, Barristan even gives him like a little shoulder hit, like a little like brush him on the shoulder.
Hey, buddy, yeah.
So
no, he's it's been a while since we've seen them have a nice little one-on-one, and it was nice to see. It's typically been, the full council, not a devil and angel on her shoulder, but a bunch of different perspectives where everyone's providing insight. It's been a while since Jorah's been able to just go, hey, this is what I think. You'll do what you do as always, and I support that, but this is what I think. So yeah, it wasn't where we started the episode, I don't think, but it was a good place to kick off Daenerys' story and conclude Daenerys' story for this episode.
Yeah. I think it started in King's Landing, but then it was Daenerys and then sandwiched. It was kind of sandwiched by King's Landing, I think.
Indeed. But that's where we're heading next, because we kicked off the episode actually with Tommen being crowned the King of the Seven Kingdoms. And he makes a little, he's greeting everybody who's wishing him well as king, and Varys steps up, but he looks off into the distance to find Marjorie smiling at him, and he can't help but smile back, and those longing glances are cut off as Cersei emerges between them.
Yeah, I loved her just sliding in there, like just completely
Cersei's
off. Cersei's
incredible in this episode.
Oh,
she you know what? I think I'm actually going to go with Cersei, both character and performance in this one.
Yeah, she gets the performance, I think, without a doubt, this episode. She has a lot of screen time. Like she's in like a lot, like very good scenes too. Yes. Like she just kept popping up and was very, very, I don't know, she is a very interesting twist to her as well. Like I think that's very, like, the character not as deserving here, because she kind of says a lot of things that you wouldn't expect her to say.
She's always scheming. You know that she's not being straightforward, but you also don't know that. Like she's being kind enough to be like, okay, you know what? My son is dead. I have one son left. My daughter's in Dorne. It's like her priorities have shifted back to just being like, I need to be happy as a mom. Yeah. Like that's kind of what it feels like for a little bit.
I think the more scheming, like she's definitely scheming with Tywin and Oberyn, like just the judges of the trial that's coming up. I think that one she's just putting in her word. But with Marjorie, I felt like it was almost like, man, I don't have a daughter anymore, and like I'm grieving right now. I just lost one of my sons, and she's like, yeah, I think she's actually like kind of accepting Marjorie a little bit. She's
like trying to,
and like, it's not fully, because she, at the end there, like I don't
even know what I will call you, sister.
Yeah, so she's still not totally okay with it, but like there are like some times in there where she was kind of like trying to, which was really, really nice
she's still fiercely protective of Tommen, and that's her priority. So like she's obviously still very skeptical of Marjorie, who did marry her now dead son. And Marjorie blatantly fucking lies to her, and Cersei knows that. I thought it was funny the way she played this, because she's not trying to be subtle, I don't think. But I also think it's a really dumb idea to try and egg Cersei on, which is what she's clearly doing. She's getting a little cocky. And it's like, like, all the power to you, Marjorie. Like you are that woman, like you've earned every right to be cocky, but there are certain people you got to be a little more careful around, and Cersei is one of them.
And for her to be like, Cersei being like, you still want to be queen, right? Like you still like, is that a thing you want to do? Like, oh yeah, I haven't even thought about it. It's like, oh, okay. Like you're talking to Cersei, right? Like, obviously, you have given.
This is a woman who knows what you're thinking. Okay.
Yeah, like you have given it much. Like that was the point where I'm like, okay, now you've gone a little too far now. Like you were doing well, and you were doing your little game. But after that, it was kind of like whatever. But I don't know. I like this moment between them was kind of like they're still scheming. That's for sure. I think a little less than Tywin and Oberyn, like Cersei-wise, like scheming, but she's trying to get in like a place where she's okay with this and like being like, okay, maybe you are okay for Tommen, and Tommen definitely needs someone, you know, like I don't know, I like just how pretty the King's Chamber or
Gorgeous,
the throne room
yeah.
looked here, like with the red just carpet kind of like down the middle, like you see just all the council members walk up and everything, and
one thing that I was a little I guess disappointed with this opening scene is that like it's a beautiful set piece, and I love Michelle MacLaren's direction. She's just usually had prettier episodes too, you know. This one was one of her more underwhelming visually, and
like you're right, the set was very beautiful, but I felt like they didn't really try to shoot it
beautifully.
Like
it was the first, like, one thing that I always give Game of Thrones credit for is that it rarely feels like TV. This episode felt like an episode of television. You know what I'm saying? Like it looked like TV, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because it is the medium that it's being told through. But it usually does have a little bit more of a cinematic flair, I think. Like, I think this kind of reverted to its earliest season sensibility and not really and I don't know exactly why that is, because even last episode, Michelle MacLaren's direction of that one, and I wonder if there's a change in cinematographer between these two episodes, because I thought last episode was fucking beautiful visually. You know, like that's it was something that kind of stuck out to me immediately.
The shots that I remember out of this episode are actually like with Brienne and Podrick. Like just like wide shots of them riding their horses, like just seeing all the trees. Like that was shot pretty well. And like, but you wouldn't expect that to be the scene that's like the most beautiful out of it. Like, I don't know. I felt like a coronation of a new king should be sort of a grand, deal there. I don't know, but
and it was just, I think it was like awkwardly lit at a lot of points. Yeah, same cinematographer as last episode too. I don't really know what happened here. And it's not like it looks bad, it just looks different. It's not the same sort of flair that previous episodes of Game of Thrones have given us. And I had that thought multiple times. Like, I thought this coronation was kind of boring to look at. I thought that it's a shame, but it's one of the reasons I didn't end up going with the big fight at the end. I thought that was a little boring to look at. Like, I thought the action was electric, but I couldn't see a lot of it. It's pretty poorly lit. And I was watching it on Blu-ray, where I can usually see everything in the dark pretty fucking clearly. So I was like, there was something about this episode that just didn't quite hit as well as other ones visually. But regardless, Cersei's fantastic in this scene, and it was off this scene with her and Marjorie that I went with her for performance, and then it only got better with her. So like, it was like, oh, okay, this was a good one, because next she goes and talks to Prince Oberyn, who is just writing poetry in the gardens. Man, that's what Oberyn's on. I didn't
also
know you
a
were
poet.
a poet.
God damn. Maybe I do have to give him the character. If you're giving Cersei, maybe fuck it.
Right.
We got to give him one because he's in the episode. Cause I don't know. That was the only thing where I'm kind of like, man, I don't know. Like, no character really shined for me this episode, but Cersei, that is one that I do think is deserving. But
because this little conversation with Oberyn here, it's more human than she's been in a while. She is trying to get to a judge and try and sway him in her favor against Tyrion. But that never actually comes up. And it ends up just being about her daughter. And that was another reason I almost went with Oberyn, is because he's got intense beef with the Lannisters. And in a moment like this, he knows who his beef is with. It's not like he is, when he says he wants to protect her daughter, when he aims no harm at Myrcella, he absolutely means that, And I think that's something that I really appreciated. The little line that Cersei delivers there, where he says, like, in Dorne, we don't hurt little girls. And she says, everywhere in the world, they hurt little girls.
Yeah. I don't know. That's, I guess, the gardens. I always love the gardens. Okay. That's really good. No, yeah.
So like, this portion of the episode kind of dominated it for me, because that was also when I thought it was visually good looking. These wide shots where they were like small on the screen, and they showed like the giant landscape and the arch they were walking between. Fucking gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and then like the king, or I guess not Kingsguard, but just some.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what you call them, just their bodyguards, like while they're walking down like the path and the gardens. Like, yeah, this was pretty nice looking. Even like the ship that Cersei wants to give Marcella, showing that, like, this probably was the most beautiful part of the episode. And yeah, I don't know, I loved their interaction here. It was very like Cersei just checking in on her daughter. Like, I haven't seen her in so long. Like, I don't even know if she's okay. Like, she was like, I want to believe that she's happy.
Like, I missed her last birthday, and I don't know when I'm going to see her again. So can you please get this to Dorne for me? Like, it's a rare, every once in a while, Cersei shows this flare of vulnerability that I always really, really appreciate. And when those moments shine through, it's hard not to choose her because she's so prickly and thorny and rude so much of the time that whenever she is honest, it's kind of like, it's kind of refreshing.
I wonder if that is her plan here. Like, that is her scheme, to not even bring up the case at all, but just to make Oberyn seem
Feel
that
bad.
Cersei is just like a caring mother, right. Like and that she's not just wanting her brother to be executed or whatever, But I feel like this was more real here. Like, this was like, she just really cares about her daughter and hasn't seen her in a long time, and this is one of the only people that she can talk to about how she's doing, who has actually seen her.
There is a brief moment when the trial comes up where he goes, we will have a trial and we will get to the truth. And she goes, yeah, we'll have a trial.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna kill my brother regardless, bro. Like that's happening, which is it's pretty fucking funny. I'm confident with my decision. I think I'm gonna go with Cersei. This is also my scene. She's also my performance. And I'm sure I could have gone with that line, but I ended up taking it somewhere else for that. But
I'll soft slot in Oberyn for right now, and then maybe the rest of the episode something will reveal itself. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that was the only
one. This is one of those rare ones where nobody sticks out, and that's not necessarily like a strength of the episode. Usually it's like everyone was so awesome. This week it was just kind of like everyone was just kind of there. So it was like, we'll see. But
soft Oberyn for right now, which is every episode that he has been in, I have given him a nod. So far.
That was the case for me up until this one.
So.
But nevertheless, we'll move on to Tywin, where he is sitting down with Cersei once again, and he explains their problem with the Iron Bank of Bravos. He asks, what would be your guess? How much gold do you think comes out of the Westerlands in the last year? She's like, I don't know, pounds, tons, ounces. He goes, doesn't matter, all the same. She goes, no fucking way, dog. We're supposed to be the richest family in the realm. And he's like, nope, we ran dry years ago. We owe the Iron Bank of Bravos a tremendous sum of money. How much? A tremendous sum.
Well, surely there's something we can do. We're the Lannisters. We can just talk our way out of it, right, Dad?
No, probably not. We'll figure it out, though.
One. Yeah, not this one. And I love how it's like the richest family is just like who can mine the most gold at this point. It's just like you actually just have to go find the money. Like, instead of it just being
the Westerlands, their houses were built. They live in the Westerlands. That's where Casterly Rock is. So, like, they just kind of erected their palace on top of a gold mine, literally, and that's why they are rich. And maybe there's history there where they took that from some other family or something, but I'm pretty sure Casterly Rock's like the ancestral home of the Lannisters.
Yeah, but it's not like I love how it's just nowadays money's just kind of like made up. It's just like, well, we say that we're in this much debt, but it doesn't really actually mean anything, or we just kind of trust that our dollar is a dollar. But in this world, it's like, no, yeah, we mine gold and it's dry now, so we don't have any more money. Like, I don't know what to do now. But I mean,
we're literally out of it. So
I was trying to think of like what happens with the Iron Bank and everything, because like I don't know. I just forgot a lot of those scenes and like what.
This is an interesting little part of the rewatch that I'm excited for, simply because they're doing a lot to build up the Iron Bank, which because they had the conversation with Davos a couple episodes ago where he was like, "Oh, I need to write a letter to the Iron Bank. We're gonna figure this shit out." I think there was even another mention of them a couple episodes back. Beyond that. And then to get a firm like explanation of what the Iron Bank is here, he's like, people come and go, one person, bends the rules. They're just replaced and the temple remains standing for centuries.
It is a temple. Yeah, it's not just a building. This is a temple here. Tywin can just. I mean, I hate the guy and everything.
Oh no, but he can speak.
God damn, is he? He just has a way with words.
And we only got 5 episodes left with him too, so like I'm gonna appreciate Charles Dance. He's
dies at the end of this season. That happened. Yeah. That's right. Oh my god, that does happen on the toilet. Finale.
And that's probably the most out of not the most out of nowhere death in Game of Thrones, but like in terms of like their prominence. At the time of their death, when it came to like Joffrey, you're begging someone to kill this guy. You're thinking it's only a matter of time before someone assassinates this kid. You know what I'm saying? Like this kid has to die at some point. When it finally happened, you're super excited. You didn't see it coming, but you're like, oh fuck yeah, finally. Even the Red Wedding.
Like Ned's huge, but he was in a cell waiting for his execution, so you're kind of like, okay, so that's happening.
You didn't think anything that led you to be like, this isn't going to happen is pure denial. Like that's all like, that was.
Ned, not Ned.
When it came to the Red Wedding, you don't expect them to die and be brutally murdered as a family. But Robb's power is slipping away. He's getting desperate. The war is being lost. There's only one way he can. Yeah.
He is at war. So, I mean, it's like, and that one, I guess, is the most shocking out of any of them. Because, I mean, it is the Red Wedding. It's just the way it did happen. Not that they did die, but just the way that it took place.
Yeah.
But, man, that Tywin is kind of like.
It's kind of a, whoa, because, like, here we are 5 episodes away from his death.
Where he's
there
like
are
the true
no
king.
signs that he is not going to be the most powerful man in Westeros for years to come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's always like, oh, now that Tommen's in, he's like, now he can truly rule. Like now Tywin has full reign and he can manipulate everything and do whatever he wants. And
I guess this would actually be the first little hint that things aren't as good for the Lannisters as we previously thought. The Westerland's gold mines had run dry and they are out of money. They are severely in debt. Like when Tywin dies, that just gets passed on to Cersei and Tyrion and
because in this it says that she talked to Oberyn first and then Tywin. But in the episode, was it?
I think it was Tywin and then Oberyn, actually.
Okay, so maybe. Oh, never mind. I was thinking out of order. I was because Tywin was talking about how like the Tyrells will help us very, very much in this endeavor. Like they will pay for all of our debt, basically. Like we don't have any more money. They have a whole lot of it. We need them. And I was trying to think if like maybe that's why Cersei was sweet talking Marjorie and saying like marry.
Oh no, that was
that definitely was first. So that wasn't happening there, but but I don't know.
Still, this was one of those rare scenes where Tywin kind of treats Cersei like she's an equal.
Poured her a glass.
Yep.
He doesn't drink. I just never does. But because at first I thought he was pouring a drink for himself. I thought he's like, man, we're in debt. I'm fucking stressed. Like, I'm just gonna take a drink. But then he hands it.
I know you like some wine. Here you go, hon.
Here you go, my alcoholic daughter. But no, I think it was a very not nice father daughter. Seeing that they're just talking about like politics and whatever. But this is how they get along. This is what they talk about and like all they care about. So like this is the most father daughter you can kind of get between Cersei and Tywin.
Oh man, yeah, I enjoyed that scene a lot, and I'm only being reassured in my decision to go with Cersei, so I'm happy with it. But that was just a nice little informational piece about the bank, the Iron Bank of Bravos. because we do go there a few more times. I think season 5 they become even more prominent. If I remember correctly, I don't know, because that's when we actually go to Bravos.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time in Bravos with Arya, so that's
And
like
I like Bravos. Everything
I like
Bravos.
Bravos a lot.
I mean, man, just getting over. Yeah, I can't wait for that story to start. And when Arya gets over there, man, it's just crazy. Like, so much happens. Like, it's crazy that like Arya's just chilling with the Hound right now, like just kind of roaming around. She just, she'll go over with the Faceless Men. She'll become, a serious assassin, and everything eventually. But in the meantime, we'll hang with her and the Hound for now.
Fucking for real, man. There's 83 episodes of this show, if I remember correctly. No, 73. 73 episodes of this show, I believe. Six seasons of 10 episodes. Season 7 is 7 episodes. Season 8 is 6 episodes. So 73. This is episode 35.
Wow.
So we're fast approaching the halfway point of the show, mathematically. And to think that hardly anything of what this show becomes has come to pass is kind of insane. Like the grand spanning of this story is so massive that like we're not even to the point where all our characters are even kind of close to being developed. You know?
I mean, it's just the sheer number of them. Like, it's just you have to take that much time to get them all set up, and then finally, I think this is like the turning point. Or I don't know, like something like after this season, every character's kind of reached their peak, and then now they can just go. In season 5 and tell the stories they want. But man, I mean, they do a good job of building up the hype and making everything, slowly burn over time and everything like that. I do like that, but
and there's still like, we'll never mind. We'll get here because I want to talk about like a pretty massive reveal that just kind of gets swept under the rug, in this episode. But in the Riverlands, next up on the road, Podrick proves to be a bit of a hindrance to Brienne of Tarth, as he has problems with his horse and accidentally sets fire to a rabbit because he didn't skin it. And Brienne tries to get rid of Podrick by releasing him from the vow he swore as her squire, but to no avail. And they are bound for Castle Black, where Brienne believes Sansa may have taken refuge with her half-brother Jon Snow. And Brienne questions Podrick about his duties as a squire to Tyrion. Have you ever cooked? No, my lady, that was the cooks.
No, I didn't do that. What did you do? Well, I kept the sheets clean. I
killed
cleared the table. Yeah, I killed someone. I guess I mostly just poured wine, though. Is what it's like. The Godrod Pod. He just doesn't have a lot of wilderness experience. He can work his way around a bedroom and in a wine glass. But out in the real world, outside of King's Landing, he's just not that experienced yet. Not
a lot of squire skill. Still loyal as the day.
Oh yeah.
But Podrick reveals how he killed Sir Mandon Moore of the King's Guard by shoving a spear through his head when he tried to kill Tyrion during the Battle of Blackwater. A little bit of a foreshadowing potentially for the end of this episode, actually.
Yeah.
Or, Brienne's like, okay, respect.
Yeah, she was like, I bet you don't even have any battle experience. What have you done? He was like, well, yeah, I guess I did kill a King's Guard. And he doesn't even say that he was at the Battle of Blackwater. Like, like, he could have just said, yeah, I was at Blackwater. Like, I was there during that. But he was like, no, yeah, I killed a King's Guard defending Tyrion. Whatever, he's trying to kill him. And it was at the Blackwater, Like, it was, the Blackwater was like a secondary detail.
Yeah.
And it's like, and she was like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, well then.
You can go ahead and remove this shoulder piece for me then. I enjoyed this scene, and I enjoy all the little relationships that are built over the course of the show, man, because I'm pretty sure Podrick kind of rides with Brienne.
That's what I was trying to think.
The rest of the show.
Yeah.
Because Tyrion goes across the Narrow Sea. not in Westeros for the rest of
Mm-hmm.
the show. He ends up getting trained by Brienne as a knight and stuff, and goes to Winterfell with her and stuff, and like he's just kind of with her the rest of the time, which is cool. You know, and their relationship is one that I'm excited to see fleshed out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Very
concludes
good
it
start
there.
to it. I think, and that's kind of a lot of what this episode is. It's just like a lot of just setting up a little things to happen later.
Yeah, it's like,
Not
all right,
necessarily
here's
anything.
where we are going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nicely shot here. I remember that, just like a wide shot of them like just riding their horse. And Pod can barely ride his horse as well, which I think is hilarious. But beautiful. I don't know. This was pretty nice looking here, but short and sweet though. Not much there, but
Enjoyed it.
Anytime I can get with Pod and Brienne. I mean, yeah, both of them.
They're just a couple of sweethearts, man. They're you know, there's just a few people in this show who are genuinely like sweet, not even just like good people, but like they're extremely friendly, and these are two of the most friendly people in Westeros. So it's nice to see them come together.
Yeah.
But next, we're heading to the Vale of the Arryn, where we encounter who might be the least likable character of the episode. And you know, this is one of those characters where I'm going to credit D&D a little bit for their writing sensibilities for the way Lysa Arryn comes off.
Yeah.
I know that she's supposed to be crazy, but
is it just that Sansa is at her crazy aunt's house? You know, like if you put this in the modern world, and it's like Sansa lost her parents, so she has to kind of stay with her aunt for a little bit. And in the modern world, you just have a weird aunt, you know, that's not your parents, so it's a weird foreign home or whatever. You think you'll be at home, but not. But like, I think they took it a little.
They took it in a weird. One of my things with Lysa Arryn in this episode specifically is that people can be horny, man. That's cool, you know.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone be this horny, you know, like believably.
Yeah. I guess Littlefinger did start a war without anyone knowing, and she's the one who kind of knows all of it. So like maybe she's just attracted to that, you know, like
the secrecy of it all, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
but
you know,
yeah, I don't know. I can't defend it at all. Like I can't.
Like,
no,
that's the thing though, is that it's also not. I don't think it's entirely out of character for Lysa. You know, she's been shown to be a little nutty. You know, and that's kind of the case. But I don't think we ever saw her have a deep disdain for her sister, which she seems to be presenting pretty hard in this episode, and a disdain that extends to her niece. All because Peter's affections went to Catelyn and not her. It's just kind of a bizarre character that I haven't, you know, she hasn't been on screen a lot, so it's hard to be like, this is out of character, but it just feels a bit extreme compared to what she's been like. And you'd think the further removed she got from all the nonsense,
the more
sane she would become.
Yeah.
I don't know. But regardless, Peter and Sansa arrive safely at the Bloody Gate, where Peter tells them that Sansa is, his niece. And upon arriving at the Eyrie itself, Sansa tries to slip into her alias, but her aunt, Lysa, tells her not to bother around her own flesh and blood. Lysa laments Sansa's treatment in King's Landing, ignoring her niece's attempts to defend Tyrion's character. And Robin Arryn, the kid who ate breast milk until he was like fucking 12, is delighted to see Peter and to show his cousin Sansa the moon door. He loves the moon door, that little shit.
I wanted to make the little man fly, but I couldn't. What do you mean fly? Like Sansa was like, what does that even mean? But yeah, this is a nut job of a house, right?
Yeah,
here. Like,
this is a rough family. Peter's like, you know what? I think I need to steer this place in the right direction. You know?
Peter is the most sane one there. Like, I guess Sansa is probably.
Yeah, but like
out of that family, like when Littlefinger's the most level-headed one, that's a recipe for disaster there.
Yeah, no shit. But Lysa is apparently finally given Robin some independence and reminds him never to reveal Sansa's identity and tells him to show her to her chambers. And the instant they leave, Lysa is like, let's get married right fucking now. And, he's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And she's like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? What about Jon? What about me poisoning his wine at your instruction? How about, the letter you told me to write to Catelyn saying it was the Lannisters? That happens in the first fucking episode, dog. That's a massive fucking reveal, that just, I think people kind of lose sight of when talking about the show, is that Ned's investigation is a fucking folly in season 1. He's looking into the killing of Jon Arryn, which Lannisters had every reason to do, and it was entirely believable that they would have done it.
Completely orchestrated by Littlefinger. It's nuts. It was kind of this episode that I'm like, oh my god, Littlefinger is really responsible, for all of this. He's everything. I knew that he was scheming and trying to do this and create chaos and everything, but this was
a different level of chaos. It literally plunged the realm into war on a scale it hadn't seen in centuries, or not centuries, decades, I should say. Robert's Rebellion, but
man, and I don't know. It's kind of like he shuts her up by just kissing her, being like, and don't speaking it makes it real, or whatever. So they kind of downplay it then and there, and it's it doesn't really have a lot of time to sit and think about what's happening, and it's just kind of moving on quickly there. But
and that's one of the examples where I'm curious how this interaction played out in the books, or if they were just because I love a good reveal, and sometimes the only way to do that is through some really heavy exposition. But that's one of the things in this scene that's just it's straight up just a character being like, I did all this stuff. What? That's because I know she's using them as proof of her love for Littlefinger. I don't know. I don't know that this would come up.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of weird and out of place. I don't know how else they'd really go about it.
No, and that's the thing is that if you want to reveal a bit of information like this, it has to be through exposition heavy dialogue. If it's not this, it's Peter explaining his master plan. It's some shit like that. But regardless, I think it works because I remember watching it for the first time and being like, oh, motherfucker, what?
Yeah. He is the schemer.
And it kind of recontextualizes a lot of stuff with Lysa, she fled King's Landing after that. After poisoning Jon Arryn because she was quote unquote afraid of the Lannisters, but it's because she killed Jon and they're framing the Lannisters for doing it. Whenever she's insisting that Tyrion killed her husband. She knows that's not the case. It's just
even I think didn't Kat ask her hey, can you send some troops? Or the Starks were hey, can you help us out? And she was like, no, I need to protect my son or whatever, or and just making up an excuse to be no, we want you guys to fight and kill each other so that this war can continue. It changes a whole lot.
Stuff. Yeah, and I think it's a great reveal, and I think it's a great storytelling device, and it makes hard to make Ned's death mean even less, because it meant a lot. It officially plunged the realm into war and stuff, but the fact that was Peter's plan was if we can kill the Warden of the North and pit the Starks against the Lannisters, the realm's fucked.
And he was right. I mean, he was right. It's written this way, so it's not like he it was going to happen this way. But I don't know. I love the kind of the brainiac, the manipulate, all that behind the scenes sort of stuff, and can't really get behind Littlefinger too much.
No, and you were speaking to the whole like it's written that way, but it's like it's still it's all the more impressive that they were able to recontextualize something that already worked and still make it believable and not be like, oh well, that changes everything and makes it make no sense.
Yeah.
No, it all still makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like that's impressive, I think they did a good job with that, but regardless, Peter can't stop Lysa. She's like, we're going to get married today. In fact, the people are waiting outside right now. Let me just open this door. And when she opens the door, she's like, what's up, guys? I'm going to fuck my husband tonight and I'm going to scream. What's up? Go ahead, Sept.
Yeah. Like, okay. Like, I mean, could have said, I'm so grateful to marry my husband, or like, I've been waiting for this day for anything else. I don't know, just apart from sex. I mean, that's obviously part of it,
it's something she's very clearly excited for. And, I think there's, maybe this is why she's crazy. Maybe she hasn't had a good lay, in decades,
That's
maybe
fair.
it has been since Robin was born that, nothing's been going down, which will drive anyone crazy. If you're into that sort of thing.
I guess I didn't think about that. Yeah, maybe it just has been quite a while, and then she finally found, I guess how long have her and Peter been a thing?
Since before the beginning of the show.
Yeah,
so
So have but they haven't.
Well, he served his little he grew up around Lysa and Catelyn, so there's a possibility that he was always longing for Catelyn, but Lysa was always longing for him. And so there's this little chain of people who are into each other. And Peter's never actually given it thought until it can benefit him, that's
Yeah, and you can tell he was trying to get out of this, the marriage, he was like, all right, well, let me go fresh. He's like, well, maybe at a little bit later. She's like, no, today. Okay, fine. We'll do it today. Let me go freshen up. Let me go get some clothes on. Let me be dressed for the occasion. He's like, nope, it's happening now. Which I don't know. I just thought was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, they really,
yeah, she was really screaming,
Yeah.
Sansa had a tough time falling asleep.
She just can't get anywhere comfortable. She just everywhere she goes, it is just hell for her. And it's
that's the thing is that it sucks that she thought she was getting out of a terrible situation and she was going to be safe and everything was going to be fine. And then later on, Lysa has a meal with Sansa, giving her some lemon cakes, and she's like, "Your mom always had a sweet tooth, and we had to keep her from overeating because she was the eldest daughter, and we couldn't let her become undesirable." And she's like, "My mother, fat." And then she's like, "Do you grow the lemons up here? How did you even do this?" And she's like, "No, Peter had crates of lemons brought from the Crownlands because he knows you love them. Why would he do something like that?" Sansa's like, "I don't know. He's a very kind man." She's like, "No. Why would he do something like that?" And you're like, "Oh, this poor fucking girl, man. She can't catch a single fucking break." And then this is what makes me go, never mind. It wasn't about getting fucked. She is just nutty.
I don't know. There might be, when I was watching, she's asking if she ever did anything with Peter, because obviously she's crazy about him. But then also she's like, well, anyone else? Obviously, you're young and, whatever, have you done it with anyone else? She's like, no, I promise. I'm a virgin, whatever. And then she's like, once she heard that and she was like, okay, she is telling the truth. She's like, okay, now we'll think about this arranged marriage now. I think it was, part of it was to get her to confess that she is still a virgin and not undesirable in in Thrones universe or whatever, that she is still a clean bride to have, or however you want to word it. But I think
because that's who she initially denies having slept with Tyrion. Have you slept with anybody? And she's like, I never slept with Tyrion. The marriage was never constant. She's like, I'm not talking about Tyrion. She's like,
Yeah.
What have you let Peter do with your young little body? Okay, Lysa. Okay.
Yeah.
And then whenever she like breaks into tears and she like hugs her and she's like, "It's all right, child. Everything will be okay." I'm like, "Oh my God. Thank God Peter makes this woman fly." You know?
I can't. How soon is that?
Within an episode or two.
Oh,
Like
thank God.
that is
Okay,
very
good.
soon.
Yeah. Okay. Thank God. Maybe that's why. Just make her just a nutcase, just so that whenever she does die, it's like, okay, good.
Yeah, we're a little bit more. I mean, but like that's the thing is Littlefinger's evil. Like
That's true.
he'd do that to anybody if it meant that it gave him soul power. So like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Weird way to go about it, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun to have another character that's just fucking nutty, you know?
I was reading some trivia, the lemon cakes here, they had to shoot this scene multiple times just to get like the emotion and everything right, and she had to eat a lot of lemon cakes. Like she over and over and over, and apparently she like hates she like did not eat them.
Sophie Turner actually does.
Like in real life, like no, she liked them, I think, but like after the scene, after eating so many, she was like, all right, that's enough, like for a while. Like she was like,
that's funny.
It was like written like she didn't voluntarily eat another lemon cake for quite some time or something like that. In the trivia. Like, so I don't know, just a thing to think about. That's like, I'm watching all these characters and just assuming that it's like, I'm not even thinking about multiple takes having to be had or like how to set up the camera. It's just like, I'm in the show, but then you realize
it's insanely well performed, man. Yeah. They're like,
these are real people.
Kind of uncanny that way. Yeah. It's bizarre to think that someone yells cut and then, Sophie Turner and this woman playing Lysa Arryn. I don't know her name, but let me see if I can't find it real quick. It should be right here.
Kate Dickey.
Yep. Apparently. She was actually in The Last Jedi. Fun fact.
Really?
One of our little crossovers. She's just a random First Order officer. Who dies pretty quickly.
Isn't the Northman? I guess. Haldora the Pict. I know I still haven't seen that. I need to watch that, but okay.
Epic fucking movie, that one.
And Star Wars Visions, apparently. Okay, wow. As an officer voice, but okay. Crazy here. That's for sure.
Nuts. Nuts indeed. But we then head on over down the road where Sandor and Arya continue to, have their disagreements, but also become more cool with each other, et cetera, et cetera. Arya's trying to fall asleep, but she has to say all the names before he falls asleep. She's like, I have to say the names. And he goes, the names of every fucking person in Westeros.
Yeah. Their relationship is just so good. Like
she's like, there's only one more.
Yeah.
I have one more name. And he's like, go on, fucking say it.
Finish it. Do what you need to do.
The Hound.
Yeah, very.
Well, he looks up. He's like, "Oh, okay, I see."
Like a little bit of respect, but also like maybe I
watched my back a little bit
as I thought. Maybe I didn't read it right. Yeah, but a nice. No, she didn't kill anyone here. Attempted to kill the Hound, I guess. Didn't quite work. But. No additions there on the kill list. Just a nice. We get the whole thing.
Yeah. So she had said Red Woman, Beric Dondarrion, and Thoros of Myr on the kill list before.
Well, I guess whenever I was taking them down, it was. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I guess I have been tracking who she says. So let's see. The Mountain and Polliver, the Tickler. Oh no, that was Jack Nagar. Yeah. She thought about Tywin. Accuses the Hound of murder.
Okay, so you've been taking down the people she kills, not necessarily the kill list. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then like almost kills. If she almost killed something, I kind of tracked down. But yeah, this one I guess
she does attempt to murder. She
That
does.
is true. Attempt the hound. There was an attempt there. Not.
Yeah, and this was another contender for my favorite scene. Whenever she's explaining, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she's like, I'm training." He's like, "What the fuck for?" Nobody cusses as well in this show as the Hound. Nobody drops quite as good an F-bomb as the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every line could feature a fuck, and I wouldn't think twice about it. It'd just be like, it's just how he speaks.
That is just his vocabulary is just 50% cuss words almost. Like it seems.
She's like, I was trained by the greatest swordsman who ever lived, the first sword of Bravos. He goes, Bravos. I hate that he probably had greasy hair, didn't he? They all have greasy hair over there. And she's like, hey, not cool. He was dope. He was fire. He trained me how to do this. And
just all twirling around and like, I forgot what the Hound says to like actually. Oh no, he actually is like, no, take a shot at me. He's like, yeah, go ahead, like do what you want or whatever.
No, well, this part did give me my favorite line, and it's where he's like, oh, who's the greatest swordsman who ever lived? He was Sirio Farrell. Was? Yeah, he was killed. By who? Marin Trant. The greatest swordsman in the world.
That's right.
Killed by Marin fucking Trant. That's my favorite line.
That was good.
He was like,
the back and forth they had. Like,
he didn't have a sword.
Outnumbered. Like, come on.
He didn't have a sword. The greatest swordsman in the world didn't have a sword. And she's just slowly backing down, and then she attempts the kill, and he goes ahead and knocks her down and holds the sword to her throat and goes, Marin Trant killed your man because he had armor and a big fucking sword.
Yeah. It's always, I like I don't know if it's a trope, but just like whenever someone is castle trained and not like real world trained, but then
comes
they get
up a couple
lesson.
times in this one.
Yeah, and that one. I think that's why the fight is a little underwhelming at the end there. I think it's kind of they're learning these lessons. Like the real world is not like it was in your castle whenever you're learning with your sword, whatever. But yeah, I mean, Art like really gave her a good slap there. Like
really
was
knocked
like
the shit out
boom. Like I don't know. I literally got me to be like, oh fuck. Like while I was watching, I don't know.
How else do you respond to someone legitimately trying to kill you? It's
no. I mean, it's fair here, and she'll remember. I mean, she'll remember this lesson. I feel like it's not a dance lesson, quite the opposite of a Syria lesson here. But
quite indeed. The greatest swordsman in the world, killed by Marin fucking Trant. It's more the delivery than it is the line itself. Rory McCain is just so fucking good as Sandor. But we then head beyond the wall. We're at Craster's Keep. Locke is scouting the Night's Watchman mutineers. And in his reconnaissance, Locke finds the hurt Brandon Stark, and he finds exactly where he's being held captive. And reporting back to Jon Snow and the others, Locke tells him that there are 11 traitors present. Most of them are drunk and won't provide much of a threat. He also says we need to avoid the westernmost cabin because they got hounds locked up in there. You don't want to worry about that. You don't need to worry about that. Don't go over there. He's like, okay, dope, sounds good. And believing Locke, they agree to attack at nightfall. Get some rest. We ride at dawn, or dusk, I suppose. But that night, Carl enters the prisoner's hut. Really excited to give Mira a run.
Eesh.
Yeah, it was bad. Like
a character. I'm not going with whatever Carl, definitely, and that's not where I'm going here. But a character that might actually give Oberyn a run for his money here is Jojen. In this scene, Jojen was actually pretty cool here. And just mysterious and being like, no, everything will be okay, but like how he talks to Carl, like,
Yeah.
no, I can help you. Like I have the sight. I can see things that haven't happened yet. And Carl's
He's like, you're gonna fucking die, dude.
yeah, he's like, have you seen what I'm about to do to your sister? And he's like, no, because he knows, like, maybe that's not how the sight works. Like, he doesn't know everything that's about to happen. But he's like, no, but I know what I did see. I saw your body burn and be buried by the snow, and it was like, okay, Jojen,
Okay,
like,
Joe.
okay, like, I don't know. So I don't know. I might Jojen, yeah, he doesn't get a whole lot of screen time at all. But I don't know. Maybe I'll give him a character.
Go ahead and slide him one, because I know we're gonna get Oberyn another one or two. So
that's true. Yeah, it was the only reason I was going with Oberyn is because we just learned that he was a poet as well, and then
not a very good one, as he puts it.
Well, I mean that he's probably humble. Maybe, who knows? He could be.
No, I fully expect it's a fantastic poem he just wrote.
But I think I don't know. Jojen probably can't get a whole lot of.
Maybe another one, maybe, and it wouldn't be until season 6, probably. So it's like,
yeah. I think I don't know. I might slot it.
What are you gonna do?
Because I mean it. I don't know. Really cool scenes there. Like with him and Bran. Like don't worry, Bran. Like you're not even here, bro. And he's like, what the fuck does that mean?
What are you
talking about? And then, like another very beautiful scene there.
The
like
visual effects there are fucking gorgeous.
And I wanted to ask, like, whenever, like they're like, how will we know whenever the end is here? And he's like looking at his hand, and it's on fire, right there. Is that how he dies? Like, I was wondering how Jojen dies. Because it's like
stabbed a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's like at the... Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think he got burned. But I was wondering, like...
They do have to burn his body so that
we actually see that happen? Like,
I'm pretty sure that he gets carried... Oh, maybe he doesn't get carried in. Maybe he does.
Is it just like a big swarm of whites and we just don't see what happens to him, but he'll probably be resurrected and join their army, or like...
Yes, but that doesn't feel right to me. I feel like either... I don't know. Maybe it is just kind of that unceremonious. Maybe it is just he dies and he.
I was wondering why, like, because it's like, how will we know the end? And he's looking at his own hand and like it burning. And he's like, oh, you'll know, like you'll know. And I was wondering if it's like, is that how he died? And that's like he's looking into his own, kind of future or whatever. He saw how he died, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of what
I'm not real
hand
sure.
on fire meant.
I was more impressed by how they did that.
The hand on fire, yeah, like how, yeah.
That's
was that actual fire? Or was
practically? That's pretty impressive. Because I don't think that was fake fire.
It looked very good, yeah, and like you even saw like little smoke. Like
I know there's like prosthetic hands they can use to like do that sort of thing, which might be why his hand doesn't move a lot, why it's kind of in this one position. But regardless, it was an impressive little bit of practical filmmaking there. Because I can't. One thing that I love Game of Thrones for is that whenever visual effects are utilized, it looks like it a little bit, like it, and not in a bad way, but it looks fantastical. Like it, the way the tree looked and stuff in the background, like that doesn't look real, and it's not supposed to. Like it's supposed to be fantastical and fantasy stuff. I don't. They're so practical about so much that I don't think they just like visual effects in some fire there and fake lit up his face and stuff. Like pretty sure there was fire in his hand there. How they did that, I don't know. It's impressive though. I'm like, I know they've set entire people on fire for this, so
that is true.
Can't imagine they were like, let's draw the line at someone's hand.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I do like Jojen here. I think I don't know. I was seeing if I'm like jumping the gun a little too much and if he actually deserves it or not. But I think I don't know. He was. I like checking it with Bran and his story, and I think he gave it like a very an interesting twist. Like he was very mysterious here, and like his I don't know. Even like Mira was like
I don't know what the fuck
taken
he's
back
talking
by
about.
it. Yeah, he's like, oh damn, okay. I'm looking at it now. The fire. Yeah, he looks at his hand first, and it's just him looking at his hand, but then it turns into like his perspective, and then like you actually see it on fire. And fingers are moving. Like he moves his finger. Like
Yeah, that's bizarre.
that's weird. Yeah, that's like, but it does light up his face, like, and flickering. Like, Yeah, I wonder.
I know there's ways to do that, So I'm like, I'm interested to see how they might have gone about that. But regardless, I just thought that was an impressive little bit of practical filmmaking. But regardless, at this moment, Rast rushes in to warn Carl that the keep is under attack, and John's party rushes through the defenses and starts killing the traitorous former brethren. And in the confusion, Locke slips into the hut and attempts to abduct Bran. But Bran wargs into Hodor. And he separates Locke's head from his body.
Let's go, Hodor. Or Bran, I guess, in Hodor's body. But,
I feel bad for Hodor more than anything in this scene.
Yeah, we got 28 Hodors this episode, but I don't really feel that it is a dub, but they were all very frightened Hodors.
Yeah.
None of these were like a nice, calm Hodor. They were always like either Hodor, like, oh, I'm worried, or Hodor. Like the one Hodor he gave after he like came back into his body, he looked at his hands and he was like, Hodor? Like he was like he was like contemplating like his own existence for a second there in that one Hodor, yeah, like
did I do this?
Yeah, and just
am I a man or a monster?
Yeah, but 28 of them, which is
a lot of Hodors. Makes me think I undershot my prediction for the Door episode big time because I think I went with like 33 or something like that.
With 44.
Yeah, 44 feels a lot more believable after a 28 outing like this.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see when we get there because we shall. That's a little ways down the road, but yeah. No,
regardless, Bran and the team are all watching Jon be a badass, and Bran calls for him, but Jojen tells him he's got to make a choice. Do you want to find the Three-Eyed Raven, or do you want Jon to stop us and take us back to Castle Black? Because that's what'll happen. And he's like, you know what? Let's fucking go then. And it's just so sad every time they like see each other. They're at the same place at the same time, but they don't do anything about it. It always breaks my heart.
Yeah, at the top of the castle, they're seeing him down there fighting the wildlings, and then it's like he's right here. Even like says Jon, and like calling out to him, and it's like like would he really? I guess no, he would take him back to Castle Black. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Jojen's right, and it's just, but man, like at least Bran gets this moment. Like. I guess he can get it. Well, he's not the Three-Eyed Raven yet. He can't really check in anywhere, but he could Vorg and I guess go check in on people. Right. I guess. I don't know if he's done that or not, but like, I don't know. It's nice that he gets to see Jon just being a badass here, just slicing down people.
Kind of becoming the man he always wanted to become, which is cool. And he gets to see that in its full form instead of him fighting wildlings and kind of just not having the upper hand, having to escape. Essentially, is the last time he saw him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but this time he's watching him very handily fuck up dudes. Like it's not even close. But the Night's Watch swiftly overcomes the traitors, and Jon confronts Carl in single combat. Always kills me that this dude's name is just Carl.
Carl, yeah.
Carl's always been a funny name to me. Sorry to any Carl listeners. It's just I don't know what it is about it. It's just something that's
every time I hear it, I think of The Walking Dead, and like I haven't really watched the whole show, but just I don't even remember the main character's name. Is how much I don't know, but I know his son is Carl, and the way he always just says Carl, very with a lot of emphasis. So that's every time I hear Carl, that's all I think about. But
yeah, I don't know what it is about the name. It's always made me giggle a little bit. Carl,
definitely not a Game of Thrones name, though. You wouldn't expect a Carl just to be in Game of Thrones, but
it's spelled with a K.
Yeah, so it is.
So it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more Game of Thronesy because it's not a C. But regardless, Carl kind of bests Jon here because he's not afraid to fight dirty. He tells him, would you come up in a castle? Mm-hmm. Learn to fight with honor, and as he's about to kill Jon, one of Craster's wives and daughter, Sissy, stabs him from behind with an axe. And when Carl turns around on her, Jon goes ahead and does what is most likely considered a dishonorable thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did a little dirty work here, and stabs him through the back of the skull and out his mouth, killing him.
Hey, I'm all good with that. Carl just spat in
sure.
Jon's face and knocked him down to the ground, was going to kill him. And you know what? Jon was like, well, I need to kill him fast here or else he's going to kill this woman. So he's like, well, and might as well do it in a very badass way. I don't know. You were this sword fight. I'm like, man, I don't know why I don't remember this sword fight at all. Like,
it's a quick one. It's not long.
But I love, like, the fight itself. You're right. It was kind of chaotic. You didn't get to really see a whole lot of it. But I think, like, a lot of times that there's a fight, sometimes it's just a fight for a fight. But this one was like Carl was talking to him the whole time. And I like the back and forth of, like,
there's
making
a bit of
fight
a
have
lesson in this for Jon.
Yeah. And it's to teach him that he's in the real world, and if you want to,
shit ain't always gonna be sweet.
Mm-hmm. You got to do what you got to do. And but no, this ended up being my favorite scene, not necessarily for the fight, but for just, I think, all of what's happening here. Like, one, it's really easy to get behind killing all of these people that are just raping and abusing all of these women here at Craster's Keep. And I'm like, yeah, all for that. I'm already there. But then, like, the aftermath of, like, after it's all done, like, and just seeing, like, all the women there, and, like, Jon being like, hey, like, like, come with me. Like, after the fight with Carl, she's like, all right, come with me. And, like, even she's, like, kind of, like, hesitant. Like, Jon, very good guy, just killed Carl and all. But she's still like, I don't know, because, like, well, the Night's Watch, I thought were going to be great, but then they came here and look what they did. And then
they're like, we'll probably be cool on our own for a while.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think it was, I don't know what, that's very brave on them. Maybe, like, just take the trip back to Castle Black and then just be beyond the wall wherever you want to go. But hey, I mean, fair enough. Like, they're
wildlings, this is their ground.
They've been through it, that's for sure. They had Craster and then some Night's Watch brothers come through and do the same thing.
She said, hey, not a lot worse can come our way.
Yeah, it was fair enough here. And I don't know, I think the last shot at least was very nice. Like, whenever Craster Keep is going up and, like, burning down.
Well, that's another just a good example of how practical filmmaking can always be very fulfilling compared to a visual effects shot of a fake cabin burning down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what I also like is you can tell this is like a set, which, is cool. I never think that's necessarily a bad thing, especially in a scenario like this. I'd much prefer that you do a controlled burning like this on a set instead of in the actual woods.
Not in the middle of that's true.
And it has this sort of theatricality about it that I really appreciate, them watching it go up in flames, which I thought was really, really cool. I loved the reunion with Ghost, hadn't seen him in a while, probably since before season 3. I think it's been since the end of season 2 that he last saw Ghost.
Yeah, you'd expect, like, I kind of like, he's like, come here, and I thought he'd be like, run and jump on Jon, give him a hug, but then you got to realize, like, can't really do that with the CGI direwolf, like, that'd be way too hard.
So all their interactions are always like the exact framing they have here, where Jon's knelt down right in front of him, looking at a green tennis ball, just stroking that,
just petting a tennis ball, like, my boy, my, but no. You're right about it looking, like, very theatrical, like them just standing there, just watching it burn down, like, I don't know. And even whenever, like, that big thing falls, like on the top, of the hut there. And I don't know. I like the scene. Just, I think it was just a lot, very action packed. That's for sure. Like, I don't really think that's why I'm choosing it for my scene. I think it was just a lot of, I liked the Jojen parts. Like Bran and, like, them talking, and then, like, the decision that Bran had to make of being like, all right, I'll go, like, let's get our things, go free the direwolves, and we'll be on our way. And just, I mean, it was the end of the episode, so it is kind of like the easy scene to choose, I guess.
Right.
But I don't know, I did really like it, and the fight, actually taught Jon a lesson there, and he'll remember that. And then seeing also Locke, die, that was was kind of nice. Just Hodor snapping his neck clean off, and then the guys being like, "Who the hell could have done that to the like? What the fuck?" Like they were like, "Yeah, we had like 5 brothers die, and then they brought in Locke," and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, what happened to this guy?
Yeah,
Like,
what could fucking do this to a man?"
Yeah. And then they're like, whatever. Well, he's dead. Throw him in the hut, burn him. Don't want him to come back. So, but yeah, and oh yeah, Rast getting killed. Like he was just running. Yep. Yeah, running, and then Ghost gets a nice little snack, which was nice.
Yeah, loved that shit. Yeah. But yeah, so let's give this bad boy a rating then. What do you say?
I think we're ready for it. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, like the lowest this season was an 8.25 for enjoyment, and that was Breaker of Chains episode 3. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like around there, like maybe like an 8 even, like I don't know, 8 to 8.5 is kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. I think an 8 straight up is fair. Like I
think this is
there's not a lot of episodes that I feel underwhelmed by in Game of Thrones. And this is one that I did truly feel underwhelmed by. And it was still enjoyable in so many parts. And we made a point to point those scenes out. There's a lot of great interactions and a lot of great character work. It's not a lot of big story, I don't think, but it's a lot of interesting little character interactions, kind of building them out a little bit. And that stuff I really enjoy, but I do think there was something missing that I think could have brought this up a little bit more. So I'm comfortable with an 8.
Is an 8 too high? I mean, I was looking back at the lowest we've ever given anything is a 7, and that was episode 3 of season 1. And I think that's the only 7 there is in enjoyment. Yeah, everything else looks like in the 8s. But I think 8 is fair. Like this is still a season 4 episode.
Yeah, no, like it's still really, really good. Like I'm not out here. I think the worst thing this show can do, and any television or movie can do, is be boring. Not interest me at all. And this had plenty that kind of stood out to me as interesting. So it's like, that's true. At least got me thinking in a lot of regards, even if it was just about the filmmaking, like that's something I still enjoy thinking about, So like, I had a good time with this one, relatively.
Okay. Now critically, I guess.
It's a solid one. What's our lowest of the season?
I thought you meant 1. I was like, whoa, really that bad? I'm like a 1?
Oh
like,
no, it's a solid episode, I should say.
I was like, solid 1? Yeah, okay. The lowest this season was a 7, and that was episode 3 as well. Let's see, is there anything lower than
that one? That one was an issue of writing.
Yeah, that was
I do
Jamie,
not have
right?
issues with the writing to that extent. Something that I will give episode 3 credit for in relevance to this is that it was a better looking episode. There's a lot of stuff I can remember visually about that one.
That's true.
So it's just kind of like, I think you're kind of just swapping that. You can always count on the performances, I think. And I will say, I think even the writing could have been better in this one. We did have some to say about how kind of awkward and clunky it can be at points. So I think we might be looking at another 7-ish here.
Yeah, I think it might be like, that might be fair. You're right about how it just kind of swapped. We had like a big thing of Jamie that we really didn't like there, and that just kind of hindered it down. But this one, we didn't have one of those. Maybe Lysa a little bit, treated her a little bit, but like it was just kind of a little just underwhelming. Like they could have. I don't know necessarily what they could have done. Or like
I just think that D&D have this way of writing women's sexuality in a really, really bizarre way that doesn't come off as believable often. There's so like I'd be interested to see how this compares to the books, the Lysa interactions with Peter, because there's something later on in the show that like is a movie or is a show original line that's just horrendously written. It's one of Oberyn's daughters later on in the show talking to Bronn, and she says something like, "You need a good girl, but you want the bad pussy."
Yeesh.
And it's like, come on.
Is that like when they're in the
not
set,
from
like,
the book?
Yeah,
that is a real thing that is said in the show, though.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. They got something going on. I don't know, like, and
or you want a good girl and you need the bad pussy or something like that. It's just like, dude,
yeah.
I think they have a weird fetishization thing going on of just women's sexuality at large, and I think that like it's one of the more poorly handled things about this show across the board is women in sexual situations. I think the like legit only well handled sexual encounter might be John and Danny's, and even that is incestual. It's like
it's all kind of weird. Maybe Pod just giving the girls an actual good time. They didn't need to pay. They gave them the gold back. That's well, I guess kind of even. Never mind. It's like they're making
maybe some of Oberyn's scenes. I think they do a good job with just kind of being like, because that's not it's not unbelievable that these people are just like, because the other thing is one of the things that doesn't lead me to believe Lysa is this horny for Peter is that I just can't believe Peter's got it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to like Oberyn and the people in the scenes with Oberyn, I can believe that. Like Littlefinger though, there's no way he's got a
whorehouse though. He does run a whorehouse.
But he said on numerous occasions that he doesn't take part in that. He doesn't
do that. Yeah, you're right. It is just her making it seem that way.
Yeah. She's trying to get Sansa to confess something she didn't do. So like he's like he even explains it to a couple of the prostitutes in his employ whenever he's like I've only had eyes for one woman.
That's true. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So I'm like it's
very
just
strange.
And so that's one of those things where it's like it's got to be believable on all ends, I don't believe that Aidan Gillen is a fine looking man, but Littlefinger does not have sexual prowess. Like that is not a person who gets down.
No. But did we agree on a 7 there? Is that what you wanted
I'm
to go
cool
with?
with 7. Yeah,
because that then makes it the lowest of this season.
I'd agree with that. Just overall underwhelming.
Yeah, it's at a 7.33. Which episode 3 was at a 7.42, and I do think that just the enjoyment, just that little bump in enjoyment, like an 8.25 versus an 8 of this one. I think that is true. Like I think I did enjoy episode 3 a little more. There was just more going on. It was just the one kind of Jamie thing.
That was one scene that ruined anything, and
so I think that is fair there.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that I think we're just so overwhelmingly nice to the show because it's so fucking good that like an 8 seems bad. An 8 out of 10 for anything else is great. Like that speaks volumes about this show. We were far harsher on it than IMDb. This got a 73 out of us. It got an 8.6 over there. Which IMDb is very, very nice to Game of Thrones in these middle seasons as well, which is something rare for IMDb. It's usually a little bit more middle of the road, but regardless, I feel good about it.
Next episode, just click the little arrow to see what the next episode is rated. 9.7, and it's Tyrion's trial.
Yeah,
I think that's actually fair.
We're back on our bullshit there.
Yeah, this next episode's gonna be. Yara and her troops storm the Dreadfort to free Theon. Daenerys
this is a goodie.
Khazar Lorax.
I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say that, Peter Dinklage is probably a shoo-in for another couple performance nods next week, as that might be his best performed sequence in his entire career. Is that
trial by combat?
Yeah, just everything leading up to that. Another thing of note is that this next episode is written once again by Brian Cogman, who is much better at writing this show than D&D. So I'm very, very excited for that.
I think this was
it's also directed by Alex. It's also directed by Alex Sakharov, who's had a good run of episodes in this show so far for us.
That's good. No, I like that. And I don't know, I like my boy Tyrion, that's for sure. And this was an episode completely without him, and that's very rare in the show. This is the third episode total of the show that doesn't have Peter Dinklage in it.
Ah, that's right. Tyrion was absent.
When I was reading through the little trivia there was like kind of a lot of people. We didn't get Davos, we didn't get Stannis.
It was 5 locations, so like we didn't do a lot.
But I mean next episode we'll be right back there.
We're back on our bullshit next week. Like that one will be near perfect, I have to guess.
Wondering who else wasn't in there, because there was like a lot of people that weren't in this one, and it was like part of the trivia that was like, yo, notice how many people weren't in here. Yeah, Theon, Sam Tarly, Davos,
Samwell,
Stannis, Tyrion, Tormund, Shay, Ygritte, Gilly, Ramsay, Melisandre,
Stannis,
and
Davos,
Bronn.
yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I guess kind of a lot of people that we didn't check in with, but
might be one of those reasons where it was like a little underwhelming, where we usually can get a lot more done and check in with everybody, and it kind of feels better. I don't know.
Usually, whenever there are less locations, it's more of like something big happens at one of those locations.
And I guess the Craster's Keep was supposed to be like the big thing of this episode. And I thought that I love that scene. I love that scene for what it does for Bran, which is something I didn't really recall it being fulfilling for. I remembered it being like John kills a guy by stabbing him through the back of the head, and it comes out his mouth. Like that's what I remembered. Like I was like, that shot just sticks with you. But the character work with Bran in that moment's a lot more impactful than I really remembered. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, I think that'll be it for this week of Winter is Blooming. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content. I've begun writing once again, and sometime today or tomorrow, I'm going to try and get a review out of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which I was surprisingly happy with. I didn't have high hopes, and I think they were my expectations were met and then some. So that'll be a good review over there. For $1.50, you get access to my written reviews, which is a lot of fun. I recently reviewed The Flash. I reviewed The Little Mermaid. I might even review Past Lives and Across the Spider-Verse here soon, because I saw those this weekend as well. So all that for $1.50 a month. And then if you go to $3 a month, you can get all our audio content and fictional work. Just a couple days ago, July 1st, my first little short story was published over there, and I'm very, very happy with it. It's called Him and Her. And I'm excited for people to read it. It feels good. I'll be damned if I write for free, though. So the only way you're going to see it is if you pay for it. Which I feel like I'm valuing my creative sensibility a little bit there. So I would appreciate if you did too. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever it is that you might be listening. Let's see. This Wednesday, we begin our director's spotlight for Christopher Nolan with The Prestige. We're doing 3 movies in anticipation of Oppenheimer, which I'm very excited about. So we've got The Prestige this week, Dunkirk next week, and Tenet the week after that, all in anticipation of Oppenheimer. We are continuing our comic book movie journey through film this Friday with Blade Trinity. And that was a surprisingly fun one. It was one that was it hit a little bit more satisfyingly than I would have thought. So that's a good episode. And let's see. Yeah, we'll be back next week with Winter is Blooming for season 4, episode 6. And I'm extremely excited for that. But with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And I will do what queens do. I will rule.